Ederson Oliveira here for DNNHero.com, and I have with me my partner in crime, Scott. Scott, how are you doing, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and excited about our DNN call, but we're gonna get there in a second. So let me start with the DNN, the new release of DNN 733. Actually, it's not that new anymore because we are on October 18th already, and that came up back in October 1st. But a few things that happened there in that release, and I'm gonna bring the release page up so you guys don't need to keep staring at our talking heads all the time. So basically we have 40%, over 40% contribution from the community, which is a great statistic there. I mean, again, one more testament to the combined effort of the DNN Corp in the community as well. Something that really, I think that really sparked some interest from me. It's the fact that the DDR menu now allows the menu options, the menu items to be filtered by page tag. I have not experimented with that, but yeah, that seems to be interesting. That seems to be something that I'll definitely try at some point. That came up on the 733 release. The other nice new feature, actually I don't even see it listed here, or maybe it is, but yeah, I don't see it here, is the fact that now the DNN was already multilingual. I mean, you can have multiple languages there, but now they have released this feature that you can localize the lists on the DNN framework as well, on the DNN site as well. Lists like the country lists, the country list, the region list, the currency list, and any other list that you may have on your DNN website. Now it's also localized. It used to be just English based, but again, for the ones out there that need those websites on other languages as well, I mean, now we have lists being localized too. Beyond that, we have over here on the list, you have over 10 bug fixes. Again, lots of them contributed by the community, including a problem with the red editor, which was not working well on IE 11. So again, watch out for that one. If you had any problems with the editor in Internet Explorer 11, that must have solved your problems there. Now, still on the red editor topic, I'm gonna flip here the tab to the Codeplex. The initial release of 733 came up with a version of Telerik that had a problem. So you may want to check if the version of Telerik that you have on your website, if you have a 733 site. Actually, I want to try to simplify this. If you have a new DNN 733 website and you have used the very initial release of 733, you may have installed an older version of Telerik. So now what you will need to do is, first you need to check if you have the correct version of Telerik. The correct one is 733. Sorry, actually I'm mixing up here the versions. The correct version of Telerik is 734, but again, if you have installed the initial version of DNN 733, the version of Telerik that you have there might be 730, which has a problem with broken links. So if that's the case for you, and by the way, you can check which version of Telerik you have on your site just by going to your DNN website, go to the host extensions, scroll down on the extensions page. Let me do that. I'm doing that as we talk through. So you can just scroll down and go to the very bottom where it says, let me see here, libraries. And in the libraries, you're gonna see .NET Nuke Telerik Web Components, and you see the version here. See, on my case here that I'm demonstrating, I have 730, which is the wrong version. So you just need to go to the .NET Nuke Codeplex page, and there is a package that you can download and you can install as a regular extension to your DNN website that will update the Telerik provider to 734. Now, there's just one more caveat here. Because of the size of this package, which is over 13 megabytes, you have to go to your web.config file and increase the max request length property to at least 13,500, which is again roughly 13 megabytes. So it has to be set to that, otherwise you will not be able to upload this file. Again, a bit of too much information here, but it's important that you have the right Telerik version there. Have you seen any problem with Telerik before?
No, I mean, I haven't messed with it that much, but no, it's definitely good information though. It's good to know about.
Yeah. I mean, and that's even strange that again, the initial version of 733 went with the wrong version, and then they correct that. And now if you download the current version of 733 that is there, you won't have this problem. But again, it's just in case you have installed the very first release of 733. Okay, yeah, lots of information here, but that's about it. Now, still on the topic of editors, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you guys know or not, but DNN will be very soon phasing out Rad Editor and starting to use the CK Editor. Let me just bring up the browser now. So CK Editor is it's an open source WYSIWYG editor,
Mm-hmm.
but the interesting thing is that you can already use that provider on your DNN website.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean there is this provider here, and I have never tried that, which is the CK editor provider for DNN. It's available on Codeplex, and you can just download it and use. But there's just one warning that they provide here, is that this provider, which I'm sure that when DNN Corp incorporates that into the platform, I'm sure that won't be a problem anymore. But this provider does not work yet with the evoked versions of DNN. So that's a big warning there for the ones that are using the evoked version.
Is that, I think, because of the workflow?
I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know. Maybe that's about it. And again, the
Yeah.
provider hasn't been updated since July. So again, I don't know if it's been really well kept. I don't know. Again, I cannot
Yeah.
talk about that. But the one thing that I can talk about is the fact that very shortly, maybe in the next release, if not the following one, DNN will really phase out RAD because of what is that, license problems, licensing issues that they were having. And at the end of the day, I think that DNN competes with one of Telerik's platforms. So
Well, Sitefinity?
I think so. I think so.
Right. Yeah. They're
And
CMS.
and I'm
Huh.
sure that they are not very inclined to provide flexibility in their licensing for a
Yeah.
competitor. So that might be the problem here. But anyway, I mean, I hope that CK Editor comes. And that's the fourth editor that DNN has in its history. I mean, if you have used DNN for a while, you're gonna remember FCK Editor, Qt Editor,
Yeah. It
and
seems like every major version it was switching editors.
a little bit. But I think that I did like the move when they did the RAD editor moves. I mean, it's a very solid editor. I mean, people can complain, and to be honest with you, I mean, people always complain about WYSIWYGs because I mean,
Yeah.
they are not perfect, and they will never be, because I mean you
Right.
cannot expect much. I mean, come on, let's be honest here. So again, I hope that the move works out well. And yeah, that's a big one. Just remember that all those links that I'm talking about, everything will be posted in the video post right here, most likely, or here.
Right
Okay,
here.
yeah, all right there. Okay. So next, I did an interview. Actually, I mean, I had been interviewed the past week by Tracy Whitkeller from DNN Magazine. On the next issue of DNN Magazine, you're gonna be seeing an interview with myself. It's interesting to be on the other side of the camera, being the one
Right.
asking questions, not asking questions. But it was nice. I did enjoy the experience. I did like it. again, if you guys want to give it a try now, DNN Magazine, which I'm gonna bring their website right now. I must have here somewhere. Yeah. So DNN Magazine, Tracy has also built a version for Android now. So now you have the option to go iOS or Android, and yeah. So have a look, check it out. It's really worth. Tracy puts a lot of effort into that magazine, and I think that he's bringing up one new edition every 2 to 3 months. So again, check it out. Yeah. Now DNNCon. DNNCon, we have some stuff to talk. So yours truly, Scott, is presenting, and here is his session. Just a recap: DNNCon will run from Friday, November 7th to Saturday, November 8th. On Friday, there will be a full day of training sessions. There are 3 sessions basically: one about administration, another about module development, and another one about skinning. Each one of those sessions will cost $300. But if you want to come for the conference just for Saturday, that's fine as well. It's, as you know, it's free, and there will be a lot of different tracks for different types of interest. So one of those tracks, I think that's the development track. Scott will be the one talking about customizing your DNN search results. Scott, can you just preview us a little bit about that session?
Yeah, we did a DNN Hero video on how to get your module data into the search engine in DNN. And this was going to be the next one, but I thought it would be great to do it as a DNN Con session. So this would be how to make completely customized results from using the DNN engine, whether that be a particular source of module data that you just want to create your own like mini search, like for example the Evoke Social features. If you notice, you can search just within the Q&A, and so I'll be teaching on how to do things like that, so that you can do that yourself for customized search. And then also how to customize and template the look and feel, because the existing search only has kind of, it's not very templatable, and you can style it, but that's about it. So I'll have an example of that too, of completely templating how you want to do your search results. So both templating and filtering of the results.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, very good. So that's one session that again Scott will be leading there. Now we have another session here that yours truly will be a part of it. So we have the three stooges. We have we have Joe Craig and myself, and Paul Scarlett, which is a local guy here to myself. I mean, he lives about 10 kilometers from me. And it's a basic session. Actually, it will be an open session of question and answer. So if you are getting started with DNN, if you have anything that you may think it's basic, but to be honest, I mean there are no basic questions. But again, the session will be open. Anybody can ask any questions for the panel. The panel will be again Joe, myself, and Paul, and we'll try to address the questions. And yeah, that will be our session there. So check it out, and again, we'll be able to talk a little bit during this session as well.
Nice. Yeah. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting concept, because if you think about it, you can ask questions during any session. That's fine. Yeah. But if you are a very basic user, or I would say basic. I would say if you are just getting started with the platform, there's no channel there that you can channel those questions. I mean, so it's hard for those users that are there for the first time. So again, I think that we should always have a session like that on any DNN conference that gives the opportunity for the beginners not to be shy away on a big audience that everybody knows everything. So I think it's an interesting initiative. Actually, that was a suggestion that came from Joe, and he invited me and Paul, and so I think it was a good suggestion from him. And again, I think it will be very useful. I hope that we have some attendance there.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I also have a colleague of mine from Blue Bolt who will be presenting on content staging, which is a huge initiative that we're working on. And I can't do a review on it yet because it's fairly new beta, but the ability to a product that we're developing that actually allows you to move content from one environment to another. And if you've done DNN work, you know how difficult that is because you're essentially either it's manual, say you create pages, content, configuration settings,
Yep.
whatever it might be. In a staging environment, whenever you're going to move it to production, what is your choice? Well, you can back up the whole site, restore it, but then what happens if you have a production site that's ongoing, that's collecting data and users and things, you can't do that anymore. So now it becomes an exercise in packaging, templating, and then manually bringing it all back up. We're developing a product that literally you can click a button and it will migrate changes from one environment to another, and only those changes that you need. So if you don't want to mess with your users on production, but you need to, you know what I mean?
Got
Data,
it. Yeah.
yeah, which is
That's
extremely
huge. That's huge.
complex. Yeah, and it's an extremely complex undertaking. And but James is doing a session not necessarily to promote the product, but to talk about that difficulty, and it's a difficulty in every content management system.
Very true.
Is how do you get your changes from one environment to another to truly create a staging environment?
Got it. And let me ask you that because it seems that you guys have more experience there with the Evoke platform. The Evoke platform is supposed to have a feature like that, isn't it? I mean, they have. Is that just for? Is that limited the scope of what they do? Because yeah, that was one of the selling points of Evoke,
Yeah, and I think it's. I'd have to look more about that. I don't think it's not a true content staging solution. I think maybe I don't have to look whether it does it by. It's more of a workflow type thing.
Okay.
That allows you to hold on to something before you publish it. But I'm talking about like where you have two different environments.
So even new modules. Is that you're going as far as new modules as well?
Yeah.
Really?
Like anything that's in the database, essentially, it is, and it's a complex process. What it involves is actually using a source control component in the middle to know what's a delta and what's not a delta, and allowing the user from an admin perspective to say, don't synchronize these certain things like user tables or things like that you don't want to be synchronized. So yeah, so it's really complex.
I know. It's I don't envy that task because it's not only the database, but that site files as well. Well, I mean, people may have uploaded files, so will that take care?
That's part of it too. We're working on that as well.
Man, let me tell you.
Files, yeah.
Let me tell you, if you guys come up with a solution, I mean, it will be huge because that is a big pain point. That's interesting because that's one of the points that I said that I would mention in my interview with Tracy, and I forgot to mention. That's a pain point on DNN. Maybe on other platforms as well, that's fine. But again, I'm talking about DNN. We're talking about DNN. So big pain point, which is moving content from staging to production. Yeah. Big pain.
Two different physical environments. Yeah. Right, up to this point, the content staging has been more of on your production environment. How can you create content and then wait to publish it? But all of our clients want that an approach where the environments are completely separated. They're even on different servers.
Got it.
And also even making it possible for a 3-stage approach where you have a staging environment to a preview environment to a production, things like that. More complex situations that we're trying to handle, and so that's coming out. But I would suggest anybody who's interested in that pain point, if you can, it's James McKee.
Okay.
I'm not sure where he's on the schedule. I think he's further down, but you can look that up.
Yep. I mean that's a huge undertaking. Again, I really admire the initiative because It's not an easy one. It's
No,
not
it's
an
not.
easy one.
Yeah.
Okay. So didn't come again. Hope to see you guys there.
Yep.
Now, a few things new about on DNN Hero. Again, I just published this past week a new set from Scott's about MVP pattern and
Mhm.
unit tests. Again, when I saw that, I said, "My God! I mean, now we are getting deep here. Now we're getting
Yeah.
very deep." So, again, if you want to talk a little bit about that, Scott, go for it.
Well, I'd love feedback because when I put that out there and we start talking about unit testing, and I mean it's a big topic. I sort of glossed over some of the how I I illustrate how to build a unit test and how to do test-driven development. And in fact, in video 4, I tweeted just about that video because I'm like, if you want, I want people to see that at least that last part of the video. Obviously, you have to probably watch all of it to get the context behind that. But video number 4, which is, the last video in that chain was how to do test-driven development in DNN.
Yep.
And that's just not it's being talked about, but I think this is probably the first video that I'm aware of that actually shows how to do it, actually, and actually gives you the code to do it. So, but I'd like some feedback because I'm not really sure, is this something that people are getting? We talked last month about DNN moving to MVC, or at least talking about it. And this is not pie in the sky, we're thinking about it. I mean, you look at the roadmap, Q1 of next year, which is coming up pretty quick. We're coming up to Q4, right? So, or are we in Q4? I don't know.
Yeah, we're Q4.
Yeah, so I mean that's coming up literally, and to what I want to avoid is for all developers or a lot of developers in DNN to be sort of holding the bag, going, oh my gosh, this is a huge transition. Well, MVP is a little different than MVC, but if you know MVP and Razor and some of these concepts that we're talking about right now, then it'll smooth that transition when we go to MVC in just a few, literally just a few months. So I want to start getting the developers into these new concepts, not necessarily because you may not develop on an enterprise level, but this is certainly enterprise type development where you need to do unit testing, where you're working on teams where someone else is messing with your code, or all these people are working on the same code, and you want to make sure that at the end of the day when you build it into a release, things are working, So that's part of it, but I just want, I want this transition to this MVC process to be smoother, and so that's why I'm talking about these concepts, patterns, and unit testing and that kind of stuff.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of hardcore developers will appreciate the fact that there is a some sort of a path, from where we are in terms of web forms to where we will be eventually. Again, regardless if they're gonna keep both running in parallel, we'll know that at some point. Okay, so that's a set that Scott came up just about a week ago. That was published a week ago. Now, from my end, I have been working quite hard, and I have to tell you guys that I'm a bit proud of what I was able to do with a new look and feel of DNN Hero, and I'm just showing a preview. This should be live next week, but again, the initiative here is not only to boost the look and feel, but to boost the organization of the content as well. Everything will not be 100% at the beginning, but I want to push this live and work through anything that may happen during the transition from that design to a new design. And again, it's not only about design, it's also about content reorganization. You guys gonna see a lot of content organized on a different way. So this is a quick preview. I'm just gonna scroll here through the new home that you guys gonna be seeing very, very soon. Again, feedback is more than welcome. I would love to hear what you guys think about the new look. It's responsive as well, so if I reduce this window here, you guys gonna see that this will, let me try to do this. Yeah, So if I reduce, it will go together. So again, I'm quite proud of what was done here. This is a skin out of the box that I just had to do some minor customization in terms of the color scheme. So actually,
Oh,
actually,
good.
actually, this skin is the one that I have featured last time on our last conversation. So again, very good skin, and
This
I
is from, who is it again?
this is the this is DNNGo.net.
DNN Go.
Yeah,
Okay,
man,
yes.
those guys are really doing some nice stuff out there. You know, I mean the people say that oh, it's Bootstrap, it looks all the same. I don't know. I mean, if you put a bit of creativity, it's Bootstrap, but it still has a different look. I mean, I have seen the skin applied to different websites, and you don't imagine that this is the same skin. So again, great stuff that those guys are doing with very, very, very flexible skins with control panels that you can really customize the skin. And if you know a little bit of CSS, a little bit of HTML, you can do a lot more with those skins. To be honest, for a client or for myself, I'm never ever starting a skin from scratch again. I did that for the first version of DNN Hero, for the second version, not the third one, and it was so fast. I put together this new look in about a week. So again, I had the skin, and it was just about putting the content, using the code snippets that they provided, and again, just not try to invent everything. I'm just leveraging what Bootstrap can bring to the table. So again, very proud of our new look and feel.
Looks
Waiting,
good.
waiting to hear from you guys. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's see. So new look and feel. Now, final stretch here. Just about recommendations. Actually, I picked the recommendation that Scott had mentioned last time, but I said no, I'm gonna stick to it. This is about Acquia. This is about a skin from Trace Keller from Tealworks. It's he just released, and when Scott mentioned that last time, he didn't have it released yet. Here,
It's still pre-release. I think we had the link for the pre-release.
very true, very true. So here is the skin on the DNN store. Now here's the demo as well. And the interesting thing is that you can see Tracy talking about the skin on the Google Hangout that they have done just a few weeks ago. He really went through a few aspects that you can customize on the skin. The interesting aspect of this skin and the approach that Tracy usually takes on skins is that they don't build modules to work on some of those fancy carousels and some of those fancy things that they have here. It's just about HTML snippets of code. So that's what I was calling the other day short codes. So again, you have a lot of short codes here. If you have a look at the hangout that he was talking about how to do some other customizations on the skin. But again, very flexible skin, very interesting. Again, Tracy does an awesome job on design, on skin. Again, he is top notch there. That's my recommendation of the month. Scott, I don't think that you have
I don't think I have any this month, but
got it.
maybe next month.
No worries, no worries. Okay, guys, I think that's it. I hope to see you guys on DNNCom in about 3 weeks. Yeah, that's it for now. Scott, anything else from your side?
I think next month we'll probably just do a recap of DNN Con, and
That'll be great.
So, yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I hope to see everybody out there.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Scott. See you guys.
Bye.